Wait, he may be MIA.
Yeah.
He won't.
Everyone's good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. This meeting is being video and audio recorded for future cable broadcast. Please silence all cell phones for the duration of the meeting. Could I entertain a motion to officially open the meeting?
So moved. Second.
We'll do a roll call.
Mr. Hood?
Yes.
Mrs. Downing?
Yes.
Mrs. Gomes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordero?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first item is the consent agenda. We will ask for approval of the minutes from December 10th, 2024, and approval of payroll and warrants. Everything listed in the consent agenda was distributed in advance of the meeting. Does anyone have any requests for anything to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed or voted on separately? Seeing no one making that request, can I entertain a motion to approve and accept the items listed in the consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any dissents? Seeing none, the motion passes. Do we have anyone signed up for delegation?
No, we do.
All right, so then we will, I don't see any old business, Dr. Bailey, so we'll jump into new business.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. The first order of business, I'd like to call Mrs. Chesney up to the podium and Mrs. Picetto and whoever else she's got, because they are going to be presenting what's called the Good News Calls Home. It's just something they're doing. It helps with a lot of different areas, and they're going to explain it all to us tonight.
While Ms. Betancourt puts our presentation up on the screen, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. Thank you so much, school committee members, for having us present tonight. And we wanted to share with you one of the initiatives that we started this year. Ms. Picetto and I had been in one of our professional development workshops that we took over the summer. And this was one of the ideas that really resonated with us as something that we really wanted to do. So often when either of us calls someone at home, it is usually perceived as bad news, and we really love doing this because the first thing that we have to say is, no one's in trouble. But anyway, so we're going to explain what we do. It's very simple, and we actually have some people here that have received a Good News Call home, and we're just going to kind of alternate, right? Yep. So you can just click. So first of all, to start us off, we connected this to our district improvement plan, and you can see the two elements there that it fits into.
So, first, the teacher nominates a student in Google form. We get alerted. We call the student down, and they get a certificate. And then we call parent, and we say, "This is a good news call home," and that's exactly what it's called. And then the student is so excited because, of course, they're being called down and they're very excited, and the parent is so excited.
So we just put a little splash there of some of the students that have actually received one of these calls. So teachers can actually nominate students for anything. They don't have to do it within a certain time. They don't have to be limited by the number. We get calls all the time, and then we pretty much, within a few days or at the most, call home and follow through with this. We do read the blurb that the teacher puts in, which is their rationale for nominating the student. And to me, it's going to reach so many more students on a very, even though it's a small level, but so many more students that we could do that might not receive perhaps a PBIS or a Friday or something like that. So it's really more inclusive that way. So we've got some pictures there for you. The kids getting the calls and their little certificates. And before we have questions, I wanted first, Ms. Picetto, do you want to read? We had invited two parents to kind of share their experience, but we had a parent who emailed us but couldn't make it.
So the parent that couldn't make it sick, when I received a phone call at work, it was expecting to hear my son did something wrong. I was surprised and thrilled to hear that he had been so good that they wanted to call home and tell me. I couldn't stop bragging to my coworkers about my phone call. It truly made my day. When my son came home and I talked to him about it, I could tell he was very proud of himself. I am beyond proud of all the improvements my son has made this year. Thank you very much for having that program. And then I'd like to mention that I have here Noah Amaral. Noah and Mom, come on up. And Noah, if I may, was nominated. Noah continues to have, this is just a sample of what
The teacher will write.
teacher would write. Noah continues to have a really great start to the school year. The area that makes me proud is when I speak to his specialist teachers who have said how much he's grown as a student, but more importantly, as an overall person. He is helpful and respectful to all of his teachers. He constantly has his work done to the best of his ability and is a consistent participant in class discussions. I'm sure he will continue to grow and have a fantastic school year. So I called Mom and said this to her. And Mom, go ahead and tell us what you have to say.
So Noah's attended AES since preschool. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and his kindergarten year at school caused many changes. Noah had some struggles when returning back to in-school, but thankfully he had many teachers here at AES that have helped him succeed to do as well as he's doing now. When I received the call from AES, I was unsure if it was a nurse calling, but when I heard it was Miss Chesney, I didn't know what to expect. At first, Miss Chesney then informed me that this was a good call and that Noah was nominated by his teacher, Mr. Powers, for the Call Home Award. He would be going into the office soon to receive the award. Ms. Chesney then proceeded to read to me the nomination that Mr. Powers wrote, which brought tears to my eyes. To have teachers and staff come up to me at the school, as well as write these nominations of how far Noah has grown, makes me proud to see how much he is succeeding, not just academically, but as a student and a person. I feel that the Call Home Award is a great idea for the school as it reminds students that going to the principal's office does not always mean you're in trouble or did something wrong. It's a positive reward, and I hope AES keeps this award going for years to come.
Good job, Christine. Good job. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Noah, do you want to say something about what was it like to go to get the award? Dr. Bailey wants to say something to you, I think.
How did that make you feel when you got nominated for that?
I was proud of myself that I got nominated and some people didn't.
Yeah?
And I was proud of myself for all the things I accomplished.
And people are noticing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it makes you want to continue to do those good things, right?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Noah.
Thanks.
So I was surprised at the PTO meeting last night that parents didn't seem to really know about this, so Christine Bardo is going to help us with a little bit of just, not that everyone obviously can get a phone call home within the year, but that we are doing this and that it's a positive initiative. But we often have to explain it when we do call home because I think to the norm has been.
People are very nervous when
Yeah.
they hear.
Exactly. But do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thanks for sharing and great job to all the kids, and Noah, we're proud of you too up here for the school committee. Great job.
Yeah, I just want to say that my son is 19, and back in middle school, I received a positive phone call home, and you're right. As a parent, you hold your breath when you get these phone calls. My son was always a little bit of a rascal. But what I will say is, I've never forgotten about that phone call. This is all these years later, and what it felt like to receive that phone call. So I appreciate Noah's mom sharing her experience, and Noah, it's not easy sometimes to get up at the podium and speak at a school committee meeting, and I know I put you on the spot, but you did a nice job, Noah. I just want you to understand the impact of what you're doing, and you probably don't even realize the impact that you're making with these families and the children. So thank you so, so much for doing this.
Thank you. It's really great.
Okay. Okay, next up, another great AES, kudos to them, but Acushnet Elementary School was ranked among U.S. News and World Report's best schools, and the principal was notified of this, and again, it's just another national recognition. We were 104 out of, let's see,
Almost 1,600.
almost 1,600 schools in the state. And I believe there was only one other school in the area that was included in the list. So we're extremely proud. We have great leadership at the elementary school, and great teachers, great students, and we know we're doing things right, and it all comes down to the school committee as well. I don't know if you noticed, but we had a thank you sign on the board this week, because we do appreciate, you do volunteer work, you support all of our initiatives. We do appreciate you so much, and it really stems from this, and like I said, I couldn't be more proud of the work that our staff is doing, and I just think that was important for you to know about, that we did send out a press release, so I want to congratulate the teachers and all the staff and administrators at the elementary school. We're extremely proud of them.
I would echo that, and the students, congratulations to all the teachers, administrators, and students. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. And it's funny, because a couple of years back, I think somebody on the school committee said to me, we want to get some national recognition, and we got the elementary school, that following year got the Distinguished Schools Award recognition, and now this. And honestly, like, to have it happen a couple of times in the matter of a couple of years is really unheard of. So we're really excited. The next item in my report is the budget transfers. There's nothing to vote on tonight. It's just a memo outlining and explaining things. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. And then the next piece is, I'm on a 2-year evaluation cycle, so I wanted to just do a mid-year check-in. And what's nice about using board docs is we're able to kind of keep track of how everything relates to the standards and the goals. So in your packets, you'll see 2 attachments. One of the attachments basically talks about, and I did it from September this year, all the topics that we've had at our meetings and how they relate to each one of our goals, okay? And then the other packet is how every single thing that we've talked about, been doing, and we try to highlight important things in our meetings, but how it relates to each standard, okay? The instructional leadership, the management and operations, family connections, etc., and the safety and all that. Obviously, I'm not going to read all these topics and things to you, but I just want to say that, in my humble opinion, I think that things continue to go well here in the district. I work alongside of a great team, surround myself with great people. We have wonderful educators in this district, and I feel like, my leadership style, I'm able to empower people to do things. I mean, there's people out there getting grants for us. Everyone is just rowing in the same direction. So it's a great feeling, but I just thought it was important that you have this check-in with me, and if there's any progress, it's just a little progress report basically on everything that we're doing. Do you have any comments, questions?
And Dr. Bailey, I believe we saw kind of an updated, your goals at one of the earlier meetings this year, because we're on the second year of the 2-year cycle, right? And so nothing's changed, I don't think, here.
No. No,
so that's
nothing's
right.
changed. We have there's a lot of moving parts running a school district. There's between the instructional initiatives that are going on, all the grant work. There's lots of new initiatives at the middle school, all the capital projects that we're working on, and the infrastructure issues. There's just a lot going on, but it's exciting work. So I think everybody who works in the district should be really proud of the work they're doing, because it is really good work, and I'm proud to work alongside them, like I said. Any other questions? No?
It's helpful to see all of that, though. Thank you for putting it together.
Yeah, and I hope you're liking the board docs, because we
Yes.
find it super helpful and efficient. That's all I have for tonight, so thank you so much.
Okay, do we have any Oh, so we have the business manager update. Patrick. Business.
Good evening, Chairperson of the School Committee. Quick update on the to-dos in the district from my office. Good news is, again, FY25 budget continues to stay on track. I know we kind of glaze over this almost every report, but it is critical, and it just, sheds light on the work that the leadership team has put in to build their budgets from a departmental standpoint and stay in line with those budgets. And with that, we also didn't have any budget transfers. None are required, though in quarters 3 and quarters 4, I'm sure there will be some from savings and strategic, changes that we've made within, again, the confines of the budget. I know we have some student service changes that were unpredicted costs, but at the same time, we've captured savings and, replacement salaries or vacancies or curriculum initiatives to be able to afford those changes. And again, it speaks to the thought and the effort that goes into the budget and managing the budget, not by myself, but by the entire team. As far as from an accounting system standpoint, the town was able to finally input the FY25 budget into Munis, so we don't have to do that mechanically anymore. Again, it is helpful. It's nice to be able to just run a report with a click of a button to see those figures versus, take 4, 5, 6, 7 extra steps to do so. As far as FY26 goes and building that budget, we've almost gotten through all our department head meetings already for initial numbers. We're going to compile those together, present to budget subcommittee, which we have scheduled for this Thursday, the 16th. In which the town administrator and the finance committee chair are also going to attend to shed light on the town's figures and projections and where they sort of guide us in landing for a budget figure. Again, it's important to us that we maintain level services while we get nationally recognized. Back-to-back years or 2 out of 3 years anyway. So that is critical as well. The governor's budget is due the 22nd, so that'll shed light on, the funding from the state as far as education goes and if there's any changes or initiatives. Again, we expect to be a hold harmless district. We don't expect the Chapter 70 formula to change at this point. So really what my eyes are on right now is what the per pupil amount is going to be for, our minimum aid that we receive. From the facility standpoint, we received what we're calling the final investment grade audit from Train on January 6th, which was the deadline that they were given. We are meeting with them on the 21st to discuss further. It is an almost 150-page document, so that's the reason for a couple of weeks before we meet with them on the details. And then, there could be another round of changes, but the core components of it are final, so that's why we call it final. And from there, once it is final and we're okay with everything that's in it, we'll plan on sharing that with the committee, stakeholders, the town, post it on our website, wherever is appropriate that we decide so that everyone's in the know and they can see, it in its greatest detail, while we also have plans to provide the details in layman terms so that everyone can kind of understand on the surface level. Again, news with the town. Friday I'll be meeting with the town administrator, the moderator, and the town clerk to discuss the avenues to get this project moving forward, which has been discussed in the past as far as if it's going to be a debt exclusion, what timelines are we looking at, what do we need to do to get this on the ballot, what are our options in language and how we present it. So it's great that we have that meeting on the table and scheduled and to figure those things out, because truly we wouldn't be able to do it in a silo. We don't know those municipal law, rules in terms. So the fact that, they're willing to take time out of their schedule and work with us on that is great. And it gives hope to the project. On a personnel standpoint, this is the last week for our facilities director, at least from a full-time standpoint. We have been conducting many interviews for that position and hope to have some second interviews by the end of this week, beginning of next week, for a replacement. He's leaving on great terms. We're willing to pitch in, kind of sub whatever it takes to hold us over and then some. So, we're excited and happy to have that luxury. And I know the next director will like that as well, because there's a lot of historical knowledge in what that trade does in these buildings and the ins and the outs of aging infrastructure. So that's critical. And then we filled our vacant custodian positions that we've had. So we have a full-time day custodian next door with great experience, and we have a part-time custodian as well that's bridging the gap between day and night and filling in the holes. So those are all positives and moving in the right direction to keep our facilities, clean and up to snuff for teaching and educating. And then from the food service standpoint, really my last note is we continue to evaluate the equipment as part of our, capital and budgetary plan that we built in that department. We ran into some snags with the cost of electrical requirements for some of the equipment that we're looking at, so we're kind of on pause and strategizing what direction we need to go with what equipment. But at the end of the day, we know we have aging, kind of obsolete equipment with the new ovens that are out there and the things that you can do and how you can use them to expand your menu and accommodate different needs of the students with allergies and things like that. So it is critical that we do make some sort of upgrades in that department, and we're continuing to push through for that. A small change that we were able to make was we updated all our point of sale systems in the lunch lines. And again, those were old aging computers. So not that, they weren't fast and functioning and we weren't able to get kids through the line quick enough, but also, if the tech director was here, he would let you know how they are exposed to different threats because the updates aren't available on them to protect you from the outside world. That is, cyber security. So now we're all up to snuff with that as well, and that's all funded through the school food service revolving account. So that's not anything locally. That's all the aid that we receive from selling our reimbursable meals and breakfasts. Any questions? That's about it for me.
Can you just explain again the cleaners for the nighttime and daytime? Do we have that third party still cleaning at night?
Yes, the third party is still very much at night. They pretty much do a full clean of all the classrooms and bathrooms at night, while our day custodians take care of the same spaces as needed. Full hallways, they're responsible for the gym, the library, and some of the bigger spaces, and then being on call and available for the lunch shifts, for the we call them the bodily fluids, whether, it's, yes. So that's what they take care of in the daytime, and then the part-time custodian kind of picks up in between. What the night crew isn't taking care of and what the day crew can't get to, they afford us the luxury of having a body in place there, so that we're not going crazy with overtime. We can let our rental facilities in. We can get some things done that, tie up loose ends.
So I looked online again at the town website, and I see that they're still looking for an accountant, a town accountant, and an assistant accountant. So with that said, knowing that there are not these people in the positions, or they're not working to their full capacity, how confident are you in the numbers that we're going to be receiving on Thursday? Sorry to put you on the spot, but
so my understanding, it's critical that we don't have a town accountant and someone that's kind of known the numbers and again has that kind of historical knowledge of the trends and then the analysis of those figures. From my understanding, we have a select board that's well versed on the figures, and the town administrator and finance committee that feel comfortable enough to present to us on Thursday with the figures. So, we have to do our own due diligence, but we'll take into consideration what they present us as well, and, it is what it is, I guess. There are holes in that office, and it's tough. We also lost our assistant treasurer.
so I'm just concerned that
The finance office was closed last week because someone was out sick, so that was it. It was closed,
They're going to come to us with this figure, and then we're going to have to reevaluate it all once these other people start coming in and finding out what the real numbers are, and then we'll have to go back again. And I just don't want to waste school time on numbers that might be so far left or right or whatever the case.
And I think, not to just interject, we have some pretty significant projects going on here, and I think the timing, and I Patrick, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but hopefully it sounds like you have a meeting at the end of this week that may inform some of the things that will need to happen, and maybe at the next school committee meeting, we can get a picture of kind of next steps where we are. But I think the timeline is pretty tight to try to make some of this stuff happen, and so to the extent that we don't have the right resources in place, it puts a potential risk on the project. I will tell you, we met with the Board of Selectmen recently about the capital project. I expressed some concern about like not having some of the staff accountant position filled. They appreciated that. I think they're trying to do what they can do, but it does create risk, I think, across many of our projects.
I think what's important too is, you know, we know our figures, you know, and I'm confident in that. We know what our needs are. You know, we've done a good job in the 2.5 years that I've been here to sharpen our pencil and be fiscally responsible for both the school and the town, and that's the approach we're going to take. You know, we know what we need, we know what's reasonable, we know what it takes to provide those level services, and we're going to advocate for ourselves with, you know, everything in mind, the tax rate in mind, the community in mind, things like that. But it is, I mean, we know how it goes. We're going to present, hopefully, next school committee meeting with the superintendent's recommended budget. We're going to extend as many meetings as we need for joint meetings, finance committee meetings, you know, so on and so forth. And, you know, we're going to have to see what everyone thinks. But at the end of the day, you know, we know what aid we get. We know what sort of, you know, reserves that we've tapped into in the past, the stabilization fund. We know what grants we're capable of getting. So, you know, we'll put our best numbers forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. So the next item is the technology update, but it's my understanding Mr. Missler is out of the district today, so we'll just table this to the next meeting, if that's okay.
Or if you have any questions, I can bring it back to him, but, okay.
I read the report or his update, I didn't have any
Yeah.
questions on it.
No, me neither.
Okay.
Are there any school committee member reports?
I just have one announcement that the Acushnet PTO is sponsoring the 8th grade class for their 8th grade dance that's happening in June, and we are doing a shoe drive at Ford Middle School. So if you have any lightly used shoes, not completely unusable, but they will be donated to local shelters, and a percentage of the cost of that, whatever that is going to help our 8th grade students with that 8th grade dance. So the community can drop them off at the vestibule in the front of this building, Ford Middle School. So they are welcome to come in, again, just in that vestibule. So they'll have to push the button to get in and safely put their shoes in the bin that's out there. And if they could please not put the shoes in the bins that are in the parking lot, because those don't count. So you have to come in and ring the bell at Ford Middle School at the front main office. And that's going until the end of February. So please clean out your closets and donate all the shoes that you can. So thank you.
Do. Happy to get rid of some.
The only other thing that I would mention is we have started negotiations with our teachers and other bargaining units. So we've had a couple of meetings. Those are underway. Hopefully over the next few months we'll have a clean and smooth negotiation process, but there'll be more to come when appropriate. So there are also in the packet some communications, district newsletter, AES newsletter, FMS. The one thing that I will say is I think we received a donation from the Acushnet Firefighters Association that was targeted towards the music program, and so we certainly are appreciative. I wanted to thank the folks there who made that donation. And that's it. We do not have executive session tonight, so we have no other items, so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We'll do a roll call.
Yes. Mr. Hood?
Yes.
Mrs. Downing?
Yes.
Mrs. Gomes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordero?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.